Have Ping run out of ideas? Or have they just refined what was already a phenomenal driver design? Let's find out. This is the new driver from Ping, the G410. And Ping have done something in this driver they have never done before. However, the technology has been around for about 15 years. For the first time in a Ping driver, they've put an adjustable weight across this back edge, putting it in a setting where you can go neutral, draw and fade. And it's a 16 gram weight, so it's a substantial size. I'm going to test it in this video to see how much influence it has. Bar the adjustable weight, there's not a great deal that's changed on the G410 driver compared to the G400 driver. There are still turbulators on top to improve airflow across the head. There's a slightly different top of crown, again to enhance aerodynamics, the forged face to increase the ball speed, and the only other slight thing that they've changed is they've allowed the loft to go up and down by 1.5 degrees, which is more than what they've had in the past, and be able to put it in a flatter setting. Now with the G410 adjustable weight across the back comes with a new price tag. For UK it's £450 and for the US it's $540, which is roughly about £50/$50 more expensive than Ping's last model. So as I mentioned at the start of this video, this doesn't feel like it's changed a lot from G400. Yes, it's got a new paint job and it's still got that kind of same look to it, but the adjustable weight is a huge story for Ping and a driver. But is that changing the game that much? I get often excited about Ping drivers. I love Ping drivers. And this one's not really excited me that much. However, I want to give it a test to see how it performs on GCQuad with Pro V1s and out on the golf course to see how much of an influence this new driver actually has compared to last year's model. So the driver I'm going to be testing in this review is the Ping G410 Plus Driver. The Plus driver is 455cc, so pretty much the maximum limit, but this is to replace last year's G400. If you remember, Ping brought out randomly a G400 MAX driver last year at the maximum size of 460cc. I've not heard reports yet there is going to be a MAX version. I would guess there isn't going to be. What I do know is there is a straight flight technology version, so an SF Tech for golfers who struggle with slice shots. And I would guess, again, I've not been confirmed on this, there will be an LS Tech version where they move the weight slightly further forward for a lower spin. I almost feel like with this new adjustable weight, that could have almost been done in just one driver this year. There could have been a port up front here where that adjustable weight could have been moved to the front for an LS Tech version. And it also begs the question is, did he really need an SF Tech version if the weight system is as good as they say it is? We'll see if that's the case on testing. So I tested this on GCQuad with Pro V1s in the ideal setting for me. And I must admit it performed. I absolutely crushed the thing. It felt very good off the face. It had a loud kind of cracky noise, which is very common with Ping drivers. They are on the slightly louder side driver hitting, doesn't have that dead deep noise, it was more of a crack. So this is my optimum performance chart of drivers I've tested over the last 12 months. And these are numbers here from the G410 driver. As you can see, distance is up. It's carrying the ball 288 yards, giving me a total distance of 310 yards. That is longer than average driver shots that I hit. So very good numbers. I found that the launch was bang on the number at 13 degrees and the spin was surprisingly on the low side, spinning at only 2,100 RPM on average, which is low for a driver that's a bigger head for Ping and it's not the low spin setting. Clubhead speed wise, I was pretty much on the average at 112 miles per hour clubhead speed, giving me a good ball speed number at 162 miles per hour. So really top end ball speed numbers, giving me a smash factor of 1.45. So on testing, very impressed. It gave me good numbers. I did experience a couple of missed strikes as well. There was this particular shot where I hit low on the face and I lost, I think, about 8 to 10 yards of carry distance. Considering the strike was so low, I still got a very good result. I found it forgiving, and in neutral setting, I did find it slightly draw biased. I found that I was just moving the ball slightly left of my target line in the neutral setting. It felt like the toe was kind of fast on the neutral setting. I also tested the weights, because now this is an adjustable PING driver. We can move the weight across the back. Not the most streamlined system. We've seen weight tracks from other manufacturers for many, many years. And I go back to 15 years ago was when the first adjustable weighted driver was actually available out in market. Ping's first version is one solid weight at the back, which can be moved from the center, which is neutral, to the heel, which is draw, and to the toe, which is fade. So I tested it in those three settings. And I'm happy to report there was a difference in ball flight. The fade didn't have as much draw flight for me, so it actually stayed a little bit straighter in flight, which I liked. It was a benefit. And the draw version, for me, definitely drew further than what it was in neutral. And substantially as well, the difference between the fade shots and the draw settings were big enough of a difference to notice that that weight was doing something different. And certainly in the fade setting, I could noticeably sense the toe of the golf club coming through contact slower, helping me keep that face a little bit more square to open. So it was doing what it needed to be done, which is great for Ping's first ever adjustable weighted driver. I also tested it against the Max drivers, so the PING G400 MAX. And the reason why I tested it against the Max driver is because the size of the head is more similar. Even though this driver on paper is replacing the G400, so the standard version, it's a different sized head, so it wouldn't be a fair comparison. So I've tested it against the G400 MAX, and this is what I found. I found the G410 went longer. I found that it was about 8 yards longer on carry distance, giving me just below 10 yards of total distance, and I found that the G400 MAX just had that slightly higher spin. So why was the ball going further with the G410 over the Max? We need to look at the club head data to give us some answers. And really it was down to a little bit of ball speed pickup with the 410, but also the club head speed with the Max was just slightly down. I guess the slightly bigger volume, or was the 410 more aerodynamic and streamlined, allowing me to swing it a touch faster? But that's where that kind of extra bit of distance was coming from, more ball speed and slightly lower spin with the G410 for me. So through the whole testing indoor on GCQuad, I couldn't see any issues at all. I found like it was doing everything it needed to do. So it was time to take this driver out on the golf course. So after spending time on the golf course and in the studio with the new PING driver, I like it. I think it's a very good driver. I'm seeing great distance gains compared to last year's model. Out on the golf course, I really enjoyed the flight. I felt like it was really strong through the wind because of that slightly lower spin. I'm a huge fan of the top of the look of this driver with those kind of turbulators, which I've become accustomed to now, and that very sleek upper body and that matte finish. I think it looks awesome. Sound-wise, I'm on the fence. It's a slightly louder kind of cracky noise, almost a little bit tinny. I suppose that's because it's titanium. I much prefer the slightly deeper sound of a carbon driver these days, but it's not offensive. I don't hate it. With regards to the new model, this is £450 or $540, and it's about £50 or $50 more expensive than the previous model. And really what you're getting for that is that adjustability across the back. And as we saw in the indoor testing, it does work, it does the job. And for many golfers out there, they'll appreciate the fact that you can now adjust a driver, certainly if you've got a common shot shape that you want to get rid of. One thing to note on this kind of recess that sits at the back of the driver where that weight moves from neutral draw to fade is when you are not using a certain hole, it's left exposed and open. Now over time, you might get some dirt in, some debris, which you don't really want. It'd be nice to have some little covers on there to keep that nice and clean. It does pose the question is this year, is there a reason for the PING SF Tech version, so the straight flight technology version? And rumours, there's going to be an LS Tech version as well. I almost feel like everything could have been done in one driver. It didn't need to be split this time. And there's definitely no room for a Max version this year. I'd be really surprised if there was. As drivers go, it performs better than last year's model. The ideas and the thought process behind what's changed in this driver aren't revolutionary. As I mentioned, we've seen adjustable weights for 15 years. We've seen aerodynamics for a long time. Yet Ping have nailed the driver market. They've some of the most successful drivers out there. And going back to that very first question, have Ping run out of ideas, or are they just refining what was already a phenomenal driver? Well, my answer to that is they are just refining what is already a phenomenal driver. This driver is very good. It's not revolutionary different. However, they've got a nice new adjustability that works. Guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, smash that like. If you enjoy the channel and you're new around here, hit subscribe, and we'll see you next time.